I'll be honest with you guys. This has been a very tough 48 hours for me. On the AFC side, you have two teams that I wish both can make it. I wish I can pick both. I wish I didn't have to pick a winner.
You would eventually have to pick a winner.
I love the Chiefs and Bengals, and Dehls can be witness in my notes. What do I have next to prediction?
Question marks.
I don't know. I don't even know what I'm gonna pick yet. And then on the NFC side, we have two teams that I really don't like. I don't want either to make.
You said that
why
the
do you
Niners.
like Eagles?
No, at a point in time, I remember you saying you felt the most comfortable with the Niners.
I do.
Wait, why don't you like the Eagles though?
I hate the Brock Purdy hype. I do. I'm
Just,
sorry.
Why do you hate it?
No,
that's
what bothers me.
You could think he's not a great
You was just the
quarterback.
Eagles
You'd be
fan last
good
year.
for him.
You was popping for us.
That's because I had you guys being
I get
better
it.
than
You
consensus.
hate the Brock Purdy narrative, right?
Yes.
Because up until right now, he has proved you wrong. Up until right now.
No.
Then why do you hate it?
Because they try to put him in a conversation with Dak Prescott.
So that's why you hate it?
I just think they're now putting him in a conversation that I don't think he belongs in.
All right, but
and then
can't
with
you ignore
Jalen
that?
Hurts,
How about us, the conversation that we have?
With Jalen Hurts,
cares about the
he's
outside?
the only great guy and the roster's terrible. Like, that's just the narrative with
says
Jalen
that?
Hurts
I don't
now.
think
No one
I don't
says
think
that.
a soul says
Well,
that.
no one says that.
It's gonna be tough because Dak isn't gonna be able to be in a conversation with either one of them because he has never made an NFC championship. So
It's tough.
So really, honestly, like
He's got the same amount of playoff wins as Brock Purdy.
the
believe it or not.
NFC prediction for me is really about picking between lesser of two evils, in my opinion.
Damn.
That's just my.
So that's why
feeling
you're
and
going
my
with the
gut
Niners.
feeling. I don't know.
But we're
We'll
talking
see.
about the Chiefs first. We're talking about
I
the Chiefs.
read this
Bengals.
guy like a book.
Well, we'll talk about the Chiefs right
Got
now.
him.
Now, the Chiefs are 0-3 against the Bengals. Earlier this season, the Bengals beat them 27-24. All three games were within 3 points. Now, I want to ask you guys, who do you think's going to win this game?
guy's
come
deflecting.
out
Oh, I thought
He's
I thought you were
deflecting.
gonna be the one
Bro,
to go.
no.
Unless you
this
want
is,
me to
This is
start.
what I want to do.
Okay.
I'm going to pass it back to you because you are the Bengals and the Chiefs guy, allegedly. So we are all very intrigued to hear what you have to say.
unbiased over here.
I'm going to start off by saying this.
He's got no clue what he's gonna say.
Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow are the greatest quarterbacks that I've seen
My God.
in my lifetime, I'm going to be honest. Well, along with Tom Brady, I'm sorry. New age, these are the two guys.
Burrow's better than Peyton Manning.
Phenomenal. Burrow? I like him better. He's more swaggy. Payne didn't have
He
no
is more
swag.
swaggy, undoubtedly.
My God.
Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. I don't care about the accolades, and that's why to me the way people are talking about this game is kind of irritating me because they're saying if the Chiefs and Mahomes lose, then he's number 2 now.
Yep.
His legacy takes a hit, and
That's true.
it sucks because I watch those videos and I get really mad about them, but then I remember and I'm like, but it's Joe Burrow. It's not that bad. It's, if it was like Hurts, couldn't take it. But Burrow, okay, I understand it. It's understandable.
Very.
That's interesting.
Very.
When I look at this game, I look at key matchups.
Okay.
Chris Jones versus the Bengals' interior offensive line. We know that they have 3 backups. Chris Jones is one of the best defensive players in the league. He doesn't get his respect because the Chiefs are all Mahomes and the offense, but Chris Jones is a game wrecker. And last matchup, they had to double team him the entire game, and that was with their offensive line healthy. So with them unhealthy, Chris Jones is somebody who can take advantage of this defense, and if they do try to double him, it leaves Frank Clark and George Karlaftis on one-on-ones in the outside. First matchup, Samaje Perine had 106 rushing yards, 65 were after contact, which tells me the Chiefs couldn't tackle. If the Chiefs tackle better, there's a chance they have a better chance at neutralizing the run game, and the Bengals have been one of the better running football teams all season long, especially since their offense, I think after week 6, was exclusively from shotgun because it was so unpredictable. When people talk about this game, they say the Bengals are the better roster. They're more complete. They're this and they're that. The Chiefs are a complete team. This isn't just Mahomes and the offense. The defense since week 14 have had the 4th best drop back EPA on defense in the entire league. I love their front 4. Their linebackers, Nick Bolton and Willie Gay Jr., they're really fast. They're really rangy. These guys are a dangerous combination. Trent McDuffie has been playing well. Juan Thorne has been playing well. I love L'Jarius Sneed in the slot. This team is talented. It is. And the interior of the offensive line is elite. Their tackles, they struggle. They allow the most pressures, and that's where I think Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard can take advantage. But ultimately, this is a complete team. My reservations for this game mostly have come with the success Lou Anarumo has had against Patrick Mahomes in these matchups. Lou Anarumo does not get talked about as a head coach candidate, but this guy is, I think, the best defensive coordinator in the NFL right now. What he's able to do with the talent that he has, and don't get me wrong, the Bengals have some good talents, but Eli Apple, Cam Taylor-Britt, Mike Hilton, who's one of the better slots, but they lost Awuzie. Their secondary did not take a hit. They don't allow explosive plays. And versus Buffalo in the divisional round, they covered 67% of Buffalo's offensive plays. People talk about Josh Allen not being good, and yes, he missed some throws. Every quarterback missed some throws. But the Bengals defense came to play.
100%.
And they contained the pocket so well against Josh Allen that it was a very tough game, and this is what Lou Anarumo does. He draws up the perfect game plans for his opponent, and Mahomes has not had much success against them because they're able to rush 3 and drop 8 and cover well. And when you allocate more people to the secondary, it stops a lot of these little route combinations that the Chiefs like to do. Quarterbacks Lou Anarumo's defense has faced over the last couple of years. Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Lamar, 2021 MVP Rodgers. The average EPA per dropback has been minus 0.03, which is basically Mac Jones this year.
Your guy.
Just laughing at EPA mentioned every single time.
That's why this was a stat by Benjamin Solak. It's because EPA is really, the way people
You're right.
measure.
Listen, people like it.
Not everyone.
Not you.
I think this game.
Here it comes.
Ah, man, it's so hard to pick, man.
You didn't mention
But you know what?
Mahomes' injury too.
You didn't at all.
I didn't mention it because I think Mahomes will be fine. And
Good. That's good to know.
Patrick Mahomes on one leg
Still can bother
is
him,
still
though.
a top
It's still Patrick
quarterback.
Mahomes. It's Mahomes who he's been.
Because his pocket presence is some of the best
Phenomenal.
in the NFL.
Absolutely.
This guy is electric. I know this analysis is going to sound dumbed down because I've listed all these
That's
things.
fine. Go ahead.
I don't think Mahomes is losing 4 in a row. And every game they've played has been a 3-point game. 2 of them, they have had a lead, and the Bengals have came back. But this year is different. The Chiefs can run the ball.
They can.
Pacheco has been amazing this year.
No doubt.
They should give it to him more. But the Chiefs can really run the ball. They have a run game. That's what I mean by this team is complete. They have a great offensive line. They have a great run game. They have a great passing game. They have a really good defense. It's not the best defense, but they get stops. It's not a turnstile. It's not the Giants defense. It's not the Vikings defense. This defense is good. It's good.
right.
And they have a
It's all
game
right.
wrecker in Chris Jones.
Bro, I mean, you saw what they did against the Jaguars. They really, using our eyes, I'll be honest, it looked a lot better. But statistically, they let up, I believe, 11% of their plays were perfectly covered. 11. That was the lowest by far of any team. That's the only reason that I'm hesitant.
I'm taking the Chiefs in this matchup.
Got the Chiefs.
You did all that.
I loved your analysis, and I love that you said the statement that you made because everything you listed mostly was in defense of the Bengals, except for the fact that you're right. You can't see Mahomes losing 4 in a row. And I said the same thing on our live reaction. If you haven't checked those out, go check those out. We drop live reactions to both Saturdays and Sundays games. And I felt similarly. That was my immediate reaction. I can't see Mahomes losing a 4th straight game. And I've used narrative a lot to drive my picks. People know this.
Yes.
And I'm tired of it. I can't do it anymore because the statistics are showing me, the facts are showing me the Bengals should win this game. The defensive output that they put forth against the Bills was amazing. One that I was not expecting personally.
We were hurt.
They absolutely shut down the Bills, particularly their rush defense. DJ Reader was the highest graded player in that matchup. He was phenomenal. And the Bengals offense has just been clicking. There's no stopping them. You thought you could stop their run game? Oh, Joe Mixon goes for over 100. You're not stopping Joe Burrow. That was never even a thought in anyone's mind. But you got to give credit to the Ravens because the Ravens did put forward a very good game plan. But end of the day, Joe Burrow did go out there and execute. And against a defense in the Kansas City Chiefs that I have been down on, and you could have the numbers put forth. I'm fine with it. But in my opinion, from what I saw against the Jaguars, they had some good moments. But the Jaguars' offense is simply not on the level as the Bengals. And the Bengals have done it for 2 years consistently. And when it comes to playing the Chiefs, I'm not making this a Mahomes versus Burrow thing. When it comes to playing the Chiefs, Burrow comes up and plays big time every single time. And that defense comes to play. Outside last year, if you go look at the AFC Championship game, Mahomes was near flawless in the first half. In the second half and in overtime, Mahomes looked a shell of himself. That plays a factor into the Bengals defensive coordinator and how great he is in terms of making adjustments. Against Kansas City, where they have been great offensively all season long. The number one offense this year in the NFL. Mahomes is going to go win his second MVP. He was phenomenal this year. I just look at the Bengals. They're the more complete team to me on both sides of the ball. Their defense has truly surprised me, especially last weekend. I would be shocked to see Mahomes win this game. The only way shocked is strong because, yes, it is Mahomes. He can go out there and win any game. I just say for the fact that the Chiefs' defense is simply not up to par, and the Bengals are going to feast.
Chiefs' offense is better than the Bengals' offense.
I agree with that statement. Agreed, 100%. But when it comes to defense, there's a level that the Bengals are at that the Chiefs simply aren't.
You guys said some nice things. In terms of the Mahomes, first of all, this game, I really don't think there's a loser in this game because both teams are elite.
No, there's a loser.
Well, in the sense of nobody's legacy should be hit. Mahomes went to 4 or 5 AFC championships in a row. He's won a Super Bowl.
He's
MVP.
Brilliant.
He's going to win another MVP.
He's so good.
There's nobody in the league that's touching him in terms of quarterbacks.
No
It doesn't matter if Joe Burrow wins this game. Mahomes is still going to be number one. Doesn't matter what's going to be. So, yeah, regardless if Mahomes loses, he's the best quarterback in the league, no doubt in my mind. In terms of this game, though, I think I'm going to lean with Drew here. I think in terms of complete roster, you have to look at the Bengals. You have to look at what they just did to one of the best offenses in the league, the most explosive quarterback in the NFL, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, the big-time plays that they've had all year. Even with the struggle, they still were at the top of the league in big plays. And what the Bengals just did to them defensively was completely shut them down. I mean, you mentioned that the Chiefs' offense is better. Probably is better, but you look at the weapons that the Bengals have on the outside, in T. Higgins, in Jamar Chase. Those are game wreckers. Tyler Boyd, so and then you look at defensively, they may not have a Chris Jones type of player, but they're so connected together, and defensively they just come to play in terms of their defensive line, their secondary. I look at the Bengals, and if Joe Mixon is running the ball like that last week, I look at the Bengals as a better complete team because Joe Burrow may not be Mahomes, but he is an elite quarterback. You have Joe Mixon, you have Jamar Chase, you have T. Higgins, you have Tyler Boyd. Hayden Hurst came to play last week too. We can't forget his name. He was bugging last week also. So you have an offense where no matter who's covered, you can still hit somebody, and then defensively they can shut down a top offense to 10 points. I mean, that team is just so different. So I know the narrative is strong because Mahomes, the only person that's beaten Mahomes is Tom Brady, and he's never beaten Tom Brady. So that's a tough in the playoffs. So that's a tough thing. That's a
and
tough
add Burrow
thing.
to that list.
You can add Burrow for right now, and I know it's something easy to say that you just ain't gonna beat Mahomes 4 times. But I think the way the Bengals, they are literally they probably are the hottest team in the league right now coming into the playoffs. They've been elite. They've been sound. The way they've been offensively and defensively, they've been disciplined. I definitely am going to lean with Drew with some of the things he said, but I got the Bengals in this
Thanks,
one.
bro. Appreciate that, man.
To add on to your point about these last 3 games, not only have the Bengals, or the Chiefs, I should say, been up in these games, in these 3 games they've led by 18, 14, and 7 points and have never trailed entering the fourth quarter. So for 3 quarters, the Chiefs have been the better team all 3 games.
So we should start having the conversation that Mahomes can't finish games.
Is that what's
that's just what that's the first thing that just came into my mind.
That was from Warren Sharp.
Oh shit.
This is going to be a fun game, man. This definitely is. It's all hyped up to be Burrow versus Mahomes. I get that. It's the 2 quarterbacks, 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league. You have Mahomes going to win MVP. Burrow arguably second in voting. Him and Hurts are probably going to be 2 and 3.
Burrow should be 2.
And I mean, right now, we said it last episode, these are the 2 best quarterbacks in the league right now. Josh Allen has left from number 2. He is now 3. And I think Joe Burrow has solidified himself as the second best quarterback in this league. And you guys talked about, how great Joe Burrow's been. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, MVP. And we've given this defense a lot of credit, and they deserve it, man, because DJ Reader's fantastic, right? Chris Jones is someone we talk about a lot, but DJ Reader does have the ability to be a game wrecker. But out of that, like, Trey Hendrickson's good, but there's really not a lot of people we talk about on this team. I think part of the reason is they're never leading the league in points allowed and turnovers and sacks. They never have someone in, contention for defensive player of the year. So I think more or less they get overlooked for a lot of the time. And in the last 2 years in these playoffs, they've been dynamite. I mean, they've played 6 games, Only 2 of those games they allowed 20 or more points. One was to the Chiefs last year. The other one was to the Rams in the Super Bowl. The other 4 games, they've allowed their opponents to 19 or fewer points. Now, to be fair, some of those games weren't the best competition. You had the Raiders and Titans last year. You had the Tyler Huntley-led Ravens this season. But regardless, that's still playoff-level football teams that they went up there and they stopped them, right? So the way their defense has been playing, and then they just came off their best performance yet against the Buffalo Bills on the road in the snow against a team that everyone thought was the more physical unit. I don't know anyone who thought going into that game the Bengals were going to be more physical than the Bills. And from the first drive, it wasn't the case. They set a statement, went right down the field, scored a touchdown. They held Allen to under 60% completion percentage, 3.3 yards per carry. That's not just for Allen, that's for the whole team. The Bills only converted 33% of their third downs, scored 1 touchdown on 3 red zone trips. This was the Bills' biggest game of the season. That goes without saying. And they completely shut down this offense. They made people say, is Sean McDermott the right coach? They have to get another receiver. They got to draft a running back. They got to fix all these pieces because of this defensive performance by the Cincinnati Bengals. And then you talk offensively, they were damn near perfect in this game. They had 9 total possessions. 1 possession ended the half, 1 possession ended the game. So really 7 possessions where they weren't up against the clock. Touchdown, touchdown, punt, field goal, touchdown, field goal, punt. 5 scoring drives, 2 drives ending in points, 0 3-and-outs. They were perfect on both sides of the ball, and that's why they look so dominant. I got to give, the Chiefs a chance. They have the best quarterback and head coach and tight end in the league. That's going to get you places. It's going to be a tight game. I don't want to read too much into the Burrow's 3-0 over Mahomes because he doesn't get an advantage for that, right? You don't go into the game and Burrow's up 6-0 because he has 3 wins, right? It's going to start 0-0, so I'm picking the Bengals, man. I think the Bengals go back to the Super Bowl, make me look like an idiot calling them a fluke. I think they're the more complete team offensively and defensively. You could say the Chiefs have the better offense. I understand that for sure. But if I look at the matchups, I feel like I have more faith in the Bengals slowing down the Chiefs offense than the Chiefs slowing down the Bengals offense. So I got the Bengals winning 27-21, going back to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a fun matchup whoever comes out of the NFC.
Okay. Nice.
So 3-on-1.
Yeah, I actually feel.
Well, I mean, you kind of. On both
I thought we were all going to be on the Bengals. I'm not going to lie.
If we're all,
He's right regardless.
I'd happily be the only one wrong here.
I bet.
Yeah,
because then Bengals and Joe Burrow go back to Super Bowl, and I actually think that
you gave up on your guy.
Of the two teams and the Bengals and the Chiefs, I think both are gonna. Whoever comes out this game is winning it all.
It's because you don't like the Niners and Eagles.
I think the Bengals defense and Luana Rumo has a better chance at defending against more so the Eagles than the Niners, but more so the Eagles. So if that's who we'll match up.
Stop the Eagles?
There's been nothing.
You can't.
I mean,
drop passes from us. Yeah,
one of the top run defenses in the league, and the Bengals.
When they were losing games, especially with Hurts, it was just weird shit.
A lot of weird shit.
Weird
passes,
shit.
They didn't really get stopped.
Fumbling. There's a ball that goes through AJ Brown's hands and ends up in a DB.
Quez Watkins catches a ball, goes a couple yards, fumbles the ball.
We're still open.
Don't give up big time plays.
Never seen the Eagles.
Eagles team is different, man.
I mean, I guess it is.
Tom Merchant.
I wonder who we're. I don't know who. I mean, I feel like I got a good feeling who we're taking in this next game, but I wonder where Joel is going to go. He's got to pick Hurts or Purdy. Either way, he's kind of screwed.
He's fucked.
He hates both of them, right?
He's fucked.
Did you guys didn't give score predictions though? Sorry,
I'm not going to give those predictions.
I got you.
Can you just give me the spread? What's the spread?
It's I believe I think the Bengals are actually 1
I feel like that's how we should start picking games. Honestly,
I'll go Bengals -3.
Yeah,
Bengals -3.
Is that what it is?
I'm taking
pretty sure the
Chiefs
Bengals
the
are
spread.
1 point favorites. I could check.
Whatever it is, because I think they're going to read.
You're saying you think
I
they
think
win
they're
by
going to
3.
cover.
Yeah, I'll say Bengals
they're going to
-3.
win. My bad.
I'll let you know now.
The Fourth Man Podcast donated $4.99, and he asks, X factors for Chiefs and Bengals. Love the show, fellas. Keep doing your thing.
The Bengals are now 1.5 point favorites.
1.5. Okay.
It opened. I think the Chiefs were like 2 point favorites. It's moved a decent amount.
All right, I'll take Bengals. That's fine.
I
mean, it's 1.5. It's basically a pick 'em at that point.
Yeah.
X factors. That's a good question.
For this game,
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase,
Is
DJ Reader.
Is he an X factor? I mean, these are just the best players.
Essentially.
DJ Reader.
Because I was gonna say,
Joe Mixon is undoubtedly
Chris Jones
an X
needs to be
factor.
Chris Jones in order for the Chiefs to really be in this game.
For the Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco.
Okay.
Undoubtedly.
Sleep on Jerick McKinnon, man. He's been great all season.
He's gonna be challenged that game.
I think the X factor in this game for me when talking about the Bengals defense versus the Chiefs offense is either Mike Hilton or Logan Wilson or Jermaine Pratt on Travis
Whoever's going to
Kelce.
play Travis.
Yeah, I think that's
fair.
that's a big
I think it's going to be one of these Chiefs receivers, MVS, Juju, Tony. One of them has to step up. I think this might be the first time all season we see the Chiefs. I wish I had Tyreek Hill. I wish he was out there because throughout this season so far, right, they played 18, 19 games. They haven't missed him. But in the biggest moments, I do think you're going to see a little bit of,
all they did was
Tyreek.
All they did was force feed Travis the last playoff game. 14 receptions
it was nuts.
on 17 targets. No, because that's Travis Kelce.